Hey friends, it's Robert. So we are in a countdown to Valentine's Day, and I always like to think of this holiday as a special opportunity to share with friends and family things that I love and appreciate about them, things I'm grateful for. So for this Valentine's Day DIY, I want to show you how to make gratitude ribbons. Now these are totally a play on old school award ribbons that are typically given out at sporting or equestrian events. They're bright and they're colorful, and they're usually made out of cloth ribbon. But we're going to be making oversized versions out of paper, so let's get started. Now the first thing you want to do is gather together a selection of colorful paper. I'm going to be using both heavyweight cardstock and a lighter weight standard copy paper. We're going to begin by creating the two circles that form the front and the back of the upper portion of the ribbon. This is known as the medallion. To do this, I'm going to be tracing the lids from two canisters. Now you can create your ribbon as large or as small as you'd like. You just want to make certain that one of those circles is slightly smaller than the other. Now we'll begin with the larger of the two circles, and that's going to be the back of the medallion. It's going to be the surface on which we build all of our other elements. The first thing we're going to adhere are the long ribbons that hang down from the base of the medallion. I'm going to be doing these in 3 colors and 2 different widths. I'm going to cut 2 strips of paper that are 3 inches wide and one that's 2.5 inches wide. For the wider strips, I want to cut the ends at an angle. To do this, I'm going to measure 1.5 inches up from one end, draw a line from that point down to the opposing corner, and cut along that line. For the thinner strip, I want to cut the end in a V shape. To do this, I'll measure 1.5 inches up from one end on both sides, draw a straight line across, measure to the midpoint, and from that point, draw a line down to the corners. We can then cut along those lines. Now all 3 of these strips can be arranged at the bottom of the medallion and adhered with glue stick. The next thing we're going to do is create those paper loops that form the exterior rings of the medallion. We're going to be doing them in 3 different sizes and 3 different colors, starting with the largest size first. I'm going to cut a series of strips of paper that are 6 inches long by 1.5 inches wide. Now loop them around and staple the ends together. You're going to want to lay these down around the exterior of your circle. Depending on how large you've created your circle, this will help you determine how many you need to create. Now to help me with placement, I'm taking the smaller of those 2 canister lids, centering it in the middle of the circle and tracing around it with pencil. Then I'm going to take a glue stick, draw right outside of that pencil line, and begin placing those large loops down. This is going to adhere the back of them. But we also want to secure the front with a little piece of tape. Once you've placed the ring of larger loops, it's time to move on to the second ring. These are going to be a little bit shorter. I'm making them 5 inches long by 1.5 inches wide. Again, gently fold them around and secure the ends with staples. We're going to place them along that same trace line, securing them just with tape this time. When you finish that center ring of loops, we'll move on finally to the smallest ring. Now these I'm cutting 4.25 inches long by 1.5 inches wide. Again, gently fold them around, staple the ends, and tape them in place. Now to give the medallion a little bit of weight, I'm again going to take that small canister lid and trace it onto the top of some foam core. Foam core is a common product that you can find in any office or craft supply store. It's typically used for posters or presentation boards. Trace around it and cut that circle out. Now if you don't have access to foam core, you absolutely can use some corrugated cardboard from recycled packaging. Take your glue stick, apply it to one side of that foam core, and then press it down into the middle of the medallion. Now we're going to be topping the foam core off with the smaller of the 2 paper circles that we cut out originally, but first I want to add a heart to the center of it. Now to do this, we're going to create an old school heart template. Take a piece of cardstock, fold it in half, and cut out half of a heart shape. When you get a heart shape that you like, go ahead and trace it onto some colorful paper, cut it out, and adhere it to the center of that small paper circle using glue stick. Then go ahead and apply glue stick to the top of the foam core circle and press the paper circle down on top of it. So at this point, your gratitude ribbon is basically finished, but you want to flip it over and add a little hanging loop to the back. This way the recipient can hang it up on their wall. I'm just taking a little length of cloth ribbon, looping it around, and gluing it to the back. Now I do hope you'll give this project a try. There's a lot of room for creativity in the color palette and the scale that you use. You may even want to consider writing a message to the recipient on the front of the medallion, perhaps their name or some of the things that you love and appreciate about them. Now, if you haven't done so already, I want to invite you to subscribe to my own channel by following the link in the video description below. There you'll find a playlist of other Valentine's DIY projects that you might want to try. Thank you so much for watching. I want to send you a lot of love this Valentine's Day, and please join me next time for another great DIY.